you wanted.
Community center or something
Absolutely,
downtown.
absolutely. And then the years went on, and my father and we were in the Cayucas area. And then we were, during the haying season, when it was time to harvest the hay, my dad would usually contact Lloyd and or Irvin, and they would come up and help with the haying. And I have some pictures of, did I ever show them to you? Maybe not. Yeah, well that was interesting. And so that's really how we got to know, as adults, Irvin and Lloyd, so to speak. And
because they'd come up and stay at the ranch during harvest season.
Yeah, maybe for maybe for a month or whatever the case may be.
They treat you better then?
Yes, I think we said we would not have allowed it. We played a few tricks on them too.
But, now the truth comes out.
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
Because I might be embarrassed.
Okay.
But if we were rascals too, we learned from them.
Okay.
No, not really, not really, not really. And then of course both Irvin and Lloyd were considerably older than we were. And then, oh Jan, you're making me think, really and truly. No, not nice. Not nice. I'm just kidding. So, okay.
Let's go back to, Enos had to give up an awful lot to marry Mike. She gave up, she was disowned by her family, and it was more than just a financial disowning. She lost out on being part of the social network.
Jan, that happened because of the villas on Villa Creek in the San Geronimo Mexican land grant, over just a fraction over 9,000 acres. Those are the young Spanish men, the sons of Roberto and Maria Guadalupe Higuera. And so and then the young ladies in town were mostly Swiss Italians. So 4 of these young Villa sons, boys, married Swiss Italian gals. And the Swiss Italian like to keep their generation, their children marrying the Swiss Italian. Well, my father, who was Spanish, married a Swiss Italian. Uncle Raymond.
And your mother was disowned also, is that correct?
Not really,
okay.
Not really. But my father was never really favored upon, and yet he was just, well, these Villa people were quiet people. They were talented people. I knew them all. I knew every single one.
And how were they talented?
They could sing naturally. They could play instruments naturally. These were gifts.
Lloyd was very good at instruments.
Yes, exactly. Okay. And also
his dad played a horn, right? Didn't Mike played a horn in a band, I think?
Yes, that is. And Irvin has that horn.
Oh, okay.
Because Irvin and I, we became good friends too. Whenever he came to San Luis Obispo, he always called me. He always came by, always, and we had dinner together or whatever. And I'm just hedge hopping here.
I know we are. Let's go back to the Swiss girls and the Spanish boys.
Yeah, there were 4.
Okay.
And all 4 of these marriages were very good.
Successful marriages? Okay.
All 4 of them. All 4. And then they had delightful children. I'll get up and bow. No, let's see. I'm the only one of that generation left. I'm the it at 91. And so I feel, and the Villa people always had an intrigue for me, and I wanted to know more about this family. So when my son was 12 years old, he and another cousin had gotten rumor that there was Indian in the family. So when Michael was 12, he really wanted to know. So of course at 12 he was not driving, so I drove him here and there and there and here and there. and he would go up to someone's door, knock, tell them who he was and why he was there and so on. And this is how this family research really did begin. It really did. And so, as you know, I have all kinds of material at home, and, and people know that I'm very interested. And when they're getting rid of pictures and so forth, they will call me and ask me if I'm interested. I go, oh yes, I says definitely. And when I leave this world someday, Vani, my niece, and you know who Vani is. Vani is my brother's only daughter. She is an RN, and she is an individual, isn't she?
Very much so.
But an absolute delight. Well, Vani's going to get all of the pictures that I have. So I want you to know that none of them are going to be tossed out. They're going to be, they'll have a home with Vani. And she's very good about sharing and so forth. So anyhow, all right, Aunt Enos.
So she, going back to get married, she, well, you said they had a very good marriage. You told me she said something when he died to you.
Oh, yes. Well, she and I became very, very close friends, very close friends. She was always welcome at our home, and she had dinners with my husband and me several times. We only had one child, and Michael was just a little guy. And when Uncle Mike died, she told me, she said, Arleen, I could just have gone into the grave with him. She just felt as if her life had ended. And that was...
For that age difference, it's amazing.
Oh, yeah. But remember, you see, now these Vias were quiet people. They weren't drunks. Only one of them did not marry. That was Uncle Sebastian. And he was talented too. Give him a piece of leather, any kind, and he would be very creative in making these wonderful riatas, all hand-woven, all cut carefully. I wonder where those riatas are today. They were beautiful riatas. Now, all of you know what a riata is.
No.
No, whip.
Okay.
A whip, right?
Stop me whenever you ask. I don't know all the answers, you know what I mean? But I'll do one thing I'll tell you. I will tell you the truth. I'm a tiger about telling the truth. I really am. Because one time I told a lie, an innocent lie to save me. I've never forgotten it. It was a no-no. Anyhow, okay. So, but he could do all kinds of leather work, you know, carving and the artwork and so forth.
So they're very artistic.
Yeah, they were.
So what kind of person was Enos?
Well, you know, see, I really did not get to truly know her as the friends we became until my son was born 62 years ago, when my husband was working, and so someone needed to come home with me to my home, and Bill picked us up. He picked up Aunt. He asked her, you know, would you come and stay with me for a few days, just during the daytime, to help me out? Yes. And she did. And that was how we became so close. So she was always welcome at our home, and enjoyed our dinners together. My husband thought the world of her. And well, she just had a home there.
And what kind of person was she?
She was quiet. And she, too, was talented. She used to crochet.
Yes.
But she really never talked about her Filipponi family. It was your dad who would growl about the situation that had occurred.
Okay. So she didn't badmouth him or anything, even though...
No.
So
she was a lady.
Okay. So I heard this story that when her husband died, Dad went up and talked to each one of her brothers, and they had... Enos and her husband, Mike, had taken a loan out to buy the ranch in Avila, and she still owed on that loan when the husband... So my dad, who was about 20, I think. He went to each one of his uncles and asked if they would forgive the loan because Grandma had gotten no inheritance, none of the ranch, and she owed several $100s, I think, to them, and every single one of them said no.
That does not surprise me.
Except for Robert. Robert forgave the debt.
Robert did.
Yes.
Yes, he and Lloyd were fairly close. They really were. Yeah, and they all had plenty of money.
Okay.
The Swiss Italian usually do because they know how to save their money.
They were good savers, huh?
Yes.
You told me one time how they feel about money, the Swiss Italian.
Jan, repeat that.
You said to me, they think of money as like a god one time.
Jan, I don't remember that.
Okay.
I
But
don't.
they're very interested in money.
Oh, yes. You show me a Swiss Italian who doesn't have any money. You show me that person.
Well, that's kind of generic, at least not the ones you knew.
Right. See, Mike's.
Did they live? Did